Ali Azim from Ali Azim Services. And do you know what is the hottest topic in the international students community and immigrants? That is the Australian borders. And I'm going to present a comparison between the border opening and the border closing. And you will see and you will find out the conclusion of the comparison that everybody wants to see the borders opened, and even Australian government. So before I start my videos, this is a personal request that you need to subscribe this channel so you can watch all the upcoming videos on your laptops and mobiles. And also you got to follow my Facebook page. That is my official Facebook page where I do bring all the international recruitment managers of the Australian and Canadian universities for you, and you can really have the updated information regarding your visas. And for all kind of visas, you can reach us, and there is free assessment from our team. And if they think that your case is pretty much necessary and you want to go with us for your visa, I'm always there, and I'll personally call you for your consultancy services, my dear. So let's get back to the video, and the video is we have to consider the scenario. Or let's say the borders are open, and let's say the borders are closed. Actually, let's compare. So you see that when the borders are opened, 570,000 students are received by Australian universities and colleges. 570,000 students per year. Now the borders are closed. Nobody is traveling over there. Even 120,000 students who go back to their respective countries, they are stranded, of course, and they cannot travel Australia because of the borders closing. So there is a kind of damaging sort of situation for the Australian territory, that they're not receiving even a single student instead of 570,000 students. Let's move to the second point, which I analyze, and that is the aviation business. So Australian aviation business, the Australian air business, the airplanes, they are pretty much still on the airports, and they are not moving from one country to another country. Besides, they're already flying, in intrastate, and the domestic flights are open in some of the states, but internationally they are useless right away, and they cannot travel from one country to another country. This is the greatest drawback, and the aviation industry is also going pretty hard in terms of the economic situation. And when the borders are opened, the Australian flights, they are pretty much popular flights, pretty attractive flights, and people like moving from one place to another place through Australian flights. My third point, which really consolidates my point of view, that Australia wants to open the borders as soon as possible. And this third point is very much important. $39 billion business from international student industry. International students industry is a $39 billion industry for Australian economy. Actually, this is the third largest industry in Australia, and they like welcoming the international students from around the world. And this is only possible when the borders are open. And when the borders are closed, as per my research and my survey, only $7 billion have been earned by the Australian universities and the private colleges and the public universities. There was a huge and the significant downfall as far as this business is concerned. I believe this is really something. I mean, Australian authorities, they would have noticed on that, and that's why they are planning pretty fast. And as per my information, at the start of the 2021, you are going to have the sharp news in a way that every week you will listen a plan of the Australian government to get the students back. And in the first attempt, right my word, my dear, they are going to bring the students back who are stranded in their respective countries. who are stranded offshore. Actually, they are the Australian students, but they went their homes, but they couldn't get back to Australia just because of the border closed. And the first attempt of the Australian government is to get them back. And obviously, I believe that it is going to be a great initiative. And along with that, the borders are going to be open for the international students who are first time traveling to Australia. So my fourth point, which really inspires me, that the Australian government is seriously planning to open the borders, that is the economic growth. The economic growth and the economic movement is pretty much still in Australia. You say the students community, they go along to Australia and they have the takeaway services and the jobs, and they are working as the security officers over there, and drivers and the taxi and the Uber Eats. They are doing everything over there, and all that business is really still stopped. And there is no hustle and bustle as far as Australian roads are concerned. The Australian economic activities have stopped in the department stores, and the people are hardly finding the people to work over there. There is an impact of the COVID that they you can't gather just because of the coronavirus, but still the hustle and bustle of Australia is lost somewhere for the last 1 year. So, my dear, overall, when you compare the borders opening with the border closing, no doubt border opening is very important and essential for the Australian government, and their minister. The minister for the borders, they have already realized that this is very much important to get the international students back on slot in the respective universities. And one last point I want to share all of you, and you will agree my point 100%, that this is very hard for the public universities in Australia to afford the salaries of their employees. You see that the public universities in Australia, they have the employees in hundreds, in thousands, some cases, and that is very hard for the public universities. And all the pressure, the economic pressure, is coming to the Australian government. And when the Australian government is feeling the pressure, so they want to open the border, and obviously they're going to open the border in the start of the 2021. And one more point I want to discuss to all of you is that. The vaccine immunization is going to be started from the January in Australia, and you will find out the better ways. And I believe that the time has arrived, the wait is over, and the good news, is coming all along. You just have to wait a bit, and I believe so. By sharing this channel or by subscribing to this channel, you're going to have plenty of update about Australian visa, immigration visas, and the borders. Thank you. Keep smiling.